Welcome to Understanding God's Voice 101. During this series, we're going to focus on how God speaks through our inner selves. That's how some might call it. But during this series, I will use the word a still small voice. That is the voice within. It's very universal that people identify that within your thought process there is a voice within you. Most times you will hear these voices in ways of intimidation, challenge, or might be leading you to take a decision you would have not taken. Now, before going into them, let me address the first three common voices. The first is the voice of the enemy. The second is the voice of self. And the third is the voice of God. Yes, it will amaze you how these three common are very real in our day-to-day lives. Let me describe how you can identify these three. The voice of the enemy can be identified by one, condemnation, two, pressure, anxiety, and I think one of the most unique is the condition for if you do not do it now, you've missed for life. So, is this a conditional pressure that is put on you to take that decision now or never? Those are indicatives that the enemy is trying to steal and kill something unique that you're carrying. The voice of self. How do we know that voice that is coming from within is the voice of self? One, it seeks to protect you. Two, it seeks to advise you against. That is to say, what if this is not you? What if this doesn't turn out right? What if you make a mistake? So those characteristics to try to protect you. And lastly, I think one of the most unique aspects of the voice of self is it gives you an opportunity to win the debate. It always wins the debate. The voice of God. What are the characteristics that we can identify God is speaking to us? The first is the gentleness of the voice. And here is how you can even pinpoint that gentility within this voice. It almost as if faintly suggests that you should be generous, that you should sacrifice, and that you should take the risk. And immediately you notice within that context, when the voice of self try to explain why it might not be a good idea, it almost feels as if you do not hear the other voice anymore. So you win the argument. What other way can we identify it is the voice of God speaking to us? Well, we can identify the voice of God by no pressure. So it suggests gently and it's fading. But one of the most common way is you always end up winning the argument. Notice with the enemy's voice, you have no even a chance to argue. You're under anxiety and pressure that you are going to miss out on something that you have to make the decision right away. And because you're wasting more time, you are going to regret this the rest of your life. That's the enemy's voice. The voice of yourself seek to make sure you don't look stupid, you don't look unqualified, and that you don't look as though you don't know what you're doing. But the voice of God, on the other hand, give you chances to argue back. It gives you the chance to win the argument. And then, as though everything is done, you won, it comes back again in a faintly suggestive approach, as though you see, almost as if you hear something in your mind. You hear this voice in your mind reminding you of the argument you just won. And almost as if to replay the same tape and ask you if you'll be willing to reconsider uh, the argument you just won, to re-examine it again. And it's amazing how that this reveal the character and nature of God. So these are the three common voices. And let me just say this, and that the voice of God will not condemn, it will not pressurize you, and it will not give you a pleasurable condition. Instead, it will allow you to have the benefit of the doubts, to win the argument, and perhaps days later, he will come back to revisit the same subject. To end this introduction, Romans 8, verse 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Christ Jesus. Notice, there is therefore now, every time of your life that you're hearing a voice that goes with condemnation, it is not the voice of God. Thank you.